Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I have several meditation books here to read. The dogs only jump up on the chair when I am filming my Peterisms videos. Isn't that so funny? I have six books here to read, and Tucker is going to help me pick out the book that we're going to read. Well, the books, if I read more than one. Okay, buddy. Here, I'm going to spread them out, and you pick the book that we're going to read. Oh, he picked Nightlight by Amy Dean. Is that your favorite book, Boo Radley? Boo Radley, can you see him? He said, I want to pick a book too. Okay, Boo Radley, here, you're going to pick the next book. Here, you pick the book, Boo Radley. He said, Healing After Loss. He pointed his nose too. Okay, are you guys ready? They said, we are ready. We're ready, Freddie. Okay, let me get a sip of my coffee first. I think that you guys really love the meditations because you always come up here just for, look at this. Well, hello, Boo. You guys only come up here for the meditation books. Okay, let's read Nightlight by Amy Dean, a book of nighttime meditations. And we're gonna read February 18th, because today's the 18th. You ready? You ready to hear some spirituality and some meditation? Oh, you're looking the book, okay. February 18th, be glad you can suffer. Be glad you can feel. Let me just say that it is probably just a few weeks or months away from me having to wear readers on this video when I'm reading, or on these videos when I'm reading, because I changed my contacts. I went from -2.5 to -2.75. I now, when I'm sitting at the computer working on videos and stuff, I have to wear readers the whole time. So we've gotten to that point where I'm gonna have to wear readers all the time to probably read meditations and do videos. Okay, February 18th. Be glad you can suffer. Be glad you can feel. How can you tell if you're feeling good unless you felt bad? So you have something to compare it with. Thomas Tryon. How many times have we come home at the end of a day ranting and raving about how horrible the day was? Or perhaps our spouse, lover, roommate, or child has carried home the burden of a bad day. How can we feel good when the day has felt so bad? First, we have to change our way of thinking. We need to apply the old saying, opposites attract, to those times of stress and unhappiness. We wouldn't know how to smile if we didn't know how to frown. We wouldn't know how to cry if we didn't know how to laugh. We wouldn't even know when we were sick if we didn't already know what it feels like to be well. By knowing how things feel, both the good and the bad, Boo Radley is dying to lick this book, so I'm like having to reach farther and farther. By knowing how things feel, both the good and the bad, we can be more aware of ourselves. If today was bad, it's okay to let it go now and know there will be days that will be good. Higher power, help me to let go of the bad feeling of the day. Help me to feel grateful for today, help me feel grateful for today, no matter how it has been. I think it's such a fantastic meditation and such a great reminder too. You know, it's like, you know, I say this often on my videos over here, that it's the bitter and the sweet. You know, that you have to have the good with the bad in life. I think to appreciate the good days, we have to have some days that maybe aren't so fantastic. Or I think it's this. I don't even think it's so much that we have to have those days. I think it's that when we get to a point of acceptance where they are super, super needy today. I'm not really sure what's going on. They've been running around outside and running around inside, and they've been having a great day today. I think it's about acceptance of the fact that that's just how life is. You know, that there are going to be some days that are not as good as others, you know. It's like that song, Mama said there'd be days like this, there'd be days like this, my mama said. You know, it's like, I think it's kind of like that, you know, that we just accept the fact that life is not always going to be, you know, 5 stars, golden stars. It's not going to be the best day always. And if it was that way, so what do we do with that acceptance, right? What we do with it is, we realize that if it was that way, we wouldn't really realize the really good days, because it just, you know, we wouldn't, it's like, you know, I think sometimes, when we have those really, really special moments in life that we look at, it's like when people ask me questions on Q&As and they'll say like, what was the best date that you ever had? Well, I've had to have had a few bad dates in there for there to be some good dates too. You know what I mean? And I think it's important to recognize those really good days. And I think it's also important to feel and allow ourselves to feel those days that are not so great either, you know? One thing I will say on this, and this is a recovery saying, and I truly believe in it, is that you can start your day over whenever you want. You know, on days where I am just like, in my head and lacking motivation, and I just don't really want to do anything, I sometimes sit down and I pray. I got a comment last night on my video. I don't know who it's from. I should have looked it up before I made the video, but somebody said that they were an atheist, but they always get something from my videos. And that just meant so much to me, you know? I really, really appreciate that, because over here I try to make my videos universal to whatever your belief system is, and that you don't have to believe one thing or another, that you can believe in anything, you know, and still get something from these meditations. But you know, on those days that I'm, right, Boo Radley? He said, what are you talking about? On those days that I am really struggling, like I'll sit down and I'll pray and I'll say, God, you know, because, you know, my higher power, who I choose to call God, I'll say, you know, but that could be the universe, or it could just be, you know, saying some positive affirmations or taking a moment just to think through it. You know, I'll say, God, like, let me start my day over. Let me start seeing things in a different way. And whether it's prayer, it's universal spiritual prayer, or whether it's just positive affirmations that I'm putting out there in the world that, like, going forward, I'm going to have a better day. Sometimes what I do, honestly, is it's not even like a really spiritual thing. I'll say to myself, okay, you don't know how many days you have left on this earth. Are you really willing to exchange a day of your life for just this petty thoughts that are going through your head, this like anger and resentment that's not worth it? Are you really going to allow the fact that somebody cut you off in traffic going to ruin this one day that you have magically been given? And I really, really, truly look at life as a gift, you know? Recently, I have been, and I'm going to say it as a blessing, I've been so blessed that I receive so many kind messages from people that will share with me. I have quite a few watchers out there, subscribers, and this is hard for me sometimes because it's sensitive and I don't know what to say, but I'm going to say it on here because I think it needs to be said. I have quite a few subscribers that have shared with me that they're terminally ill and that they watch my videos and my videos help them. That is like probably the highest compliment I could ever receive. That somebody that has been told and realizes truly, because we all know, I think, that we only have a certain amount of days left on earth, but when you're told that, you know, that, hey, listen, there's an end in sight, I think it's a different thing. You know, I've had several friends of mine that had terminal illnesses, and I can't even imagine. The fact that people choose to spend their time with me watching my videos is really, really powerful to me. I think that we have the ability to, you know, really take a look at our lives in certain ways, and it's our choice how we look at life. And I look at life every single day as a gift. Some days I get, you know, off course a little bit, and I have to realign myself and say, okay, Peter, like, life is a gift. Remember that, okay? You have friends, you have family members that are no longer here. They don't get a my friend and I, whose mom passed away the year before my mom did, we used to always talk about how our moms don't get to dance in the kitchens anymore because both of our moms love to dance in the kitchen and sing and things like that. My mom used to dance in this kitchen right here, and she would dance and she would sing at the top of her lungs. And you know, I think about that sometimes, that when I dry run in a car and I'm like dancing and I'm like singing at the top of my lungs, you know, that this is a day that I've been given. This is a special day because I will, you know, it's like that old, the poem or whatever it was. It's like, oh no, it's the thing that I used to read when I was I've done the video on here. I'm exchanging a day of my life for today. You know, good or bad, you know, whatever, that I'm exchanging a day of my life for this. A new day. This is the beginning of a new day, is what it's called. And I can do what I want with it. I can, you know, but at the end of the day, it's my day that I exchanged a day of my life for it. What am I going to do with it, you know? And some days are going to be days, some days I'm going to wake up and some of my days are not going to be that great. And some days are going to, you know, have tragedies and losses, and somebody's going to pass away, and I'm going to, you know, whatever. Some days are filled with sickness, and some days are just, I'm not doing great, you know? And there are other days that I feel fantastic for no reason whatsoever. And I think it's just putting one foot in front of the other and being aware and being cognizant of each of those days. So I really, really liked that meditation. I have to remind myself every single day that I'm here that this is a gift. And, you know, and I know whenever I say that, there are people out there that say my life doesn't feel like a gift. And I understand that. And I think that you know, what I would recommend in those situations, if you have the ability, is to find somebody to talk to that can help you with that. And, you know, I don't know, find a professional to talk to. I can tell you that there were days of that, you know, in early sobriety or days when I was using, that I didn't really care if I lived or died. I really didn't care. And life didn't feel like any kind of gift to me. I felt like if this is a gift, you can have it, you know, like, but I don't feel that way today. I'm very, very protective of my life, and I get very, very excited about what could possibly happen that day, you know? And I have to say, it turned around for me like my last year of college when I was sober, and I had gone back to school. And I can remember that it was like when I would go to that first class of the first semester, and because then I went to graduate school after that, and I would be like, you know, I wonder who I'm going to meet today. Am I going to meet the greatest friend of my life today? And today I've kind of carried that over in my life. And every day that I wake up, I think to myself, what opportunity is going to come my way today? You know, what person am I going to meet that could profoundly change my life? Am I going to meet like the best friend I've ever had? Well, I already have the best friend ever. But am I going to meet somebody today that could possibly be my next best friend, or the next best person in my life that's going to be, you know, fantastic? And, you know, am I going to meet somebody that's going to change my life forever in a positive way, you know? Or is something going to happen to me today that I'm going to look back on in my life and be like, gosh, you know, like February 18th was that day, you know? And we never know. We never know until that day, you know? So I try to get up every day with that kind of outlook. All right, let's get to the next one. Boo Radley, he wants to read about healing after loss, daily meditations for working through grief. And he said, well, and I'm going to be right on your lap while you read it too. Okay, you ready, Boo? He said, of course I'm ready. Please don't start scratching back there. Okay, February 18th. Bless you. This is the hour of lead. Bless you. This is the hour of lead, remembered if outlived, as freezing persons recollect the snow. First, chill. Hold on a second. This is an Emily Dickinson poem. Not my favorite poet in the entire world, but we'll read this anyway. February 18th. This is the hour of lead, remembered if outlived, as freezing persons recollect the snow. First, chill, then stupor, then the letting go. Emily Dickinson. One can scarcely imagine heavier images than those in this poem by Emily Dickinson. Yet the feeling, I can, yet the feeling is familiar to us, a heaviness in our step, in our whole body, a heaviness of mind and heart. The chill is accurate too, a kind of pervasive lethargy. We may find it hard to lethargy. Sorry. We may find it hard to think. We forget where we put something, what we had planned to do. It's a good time for making lists. But we do outlive the hour of lead. The will of the body and spirit is for recovery, even for growth, for there is no recovery without growth. Even when I am feeling swallowed in an hour of lead, I will try to remember there will be a new time and a new day. So, you know, I get questions a lot about this book, and is this book just necessarily about grieving? And where my head went with this, you know, I was trying at first to kind of like think it through, like in regards to like losing my mom and my aunt and Pee-Pee and things like that, my uncle. But I have to tell you where it went for me. And where it went for me was, you know, before Alex and I got into marriage counseling, when I hadn't been going to meetings and I had no spiritual foundation and no emotional sobriety whatsoever. There was 4 years that I didn't go to meetings, and I've talked about this on here. But for the grace of God, I did not pick up. I didn't start using again. I didn't start drinking or using drugs. I have no idea how I didn't, but I didn't. And there became a point when I became so cold and so just emotionally detached from the world and from everybody around me in it. And I don't know the last time I've shared this story on here, but I did just share it 2 weeks ago when I gave a lead, because it was the day that my life changed profoundly. And I was standing right in there, and I was making a list of things I needed to do that day. And I was like, vacuum, fold laundry, do laundry, fold laundry. And I got like 3 or 4 things down, and I just lost it. Like, I started bawling my eyes out. I don't know why it was that day. I don't know what had happened that day. I had no emotional response to anything, I think, since my mother passed away, in all honesty. I had been so numb for years. And, you know, I just didn't know what to, it was nothing big that happened that day. And I think that that's important for me to say, that there are days that it doesn't have to be this like huge event that occurs, right? something just happened that day. Like, I just couldn't put one foot in front of the other. I didn't know how to move on anymore. I didn't know how to live. I really didn't. And thank God I picked up the phone and I called my best friend Tanya and I said, will you take me to a meeting tonight? And she said, I've been praying for 4 years for you to ask me that question. And, so, you know, I went back and I had to go down that, you know, and the people in my life, my friends, are people that, in recovery, are people that truly believe, they never left my side, but they're also people that truly believe that you have to feel enough pain to want to come out of it. And I think I had felt enough pain because when I came back, okay, Boo Radley jumped down and he hit the camera, or he hit the ring light. So anyway, but when I came back with like so much passion, and I just was like, hey, I'm here, you know, like I'm here, I'm gonna do this thing, and I'm ready to live again. So when the meditation says down here, you know, the chill is accurate too, a kind of pervasive lethargy, we find it hard to think. We forget where we put something, what we had planned to do. It's a good time for making lists. It's so funny when I read that because that was how I was. Like, I didn't really know how to live my life anymore. I didn't really know what to do, that I had to make I still make lists, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to be. I didn't know how to just go through life on a daily basis anymore. And so then when it says, but we do outlive the hour of lead, the will of the body and spirit is for recovery, even for growth. For there is no recovery without growth. And I think we have to go through those hard times sometimes, you know, and I'm thankful for that in retrospect. You know, I am such a believer in God moments, and, you know, the fact that my best friend was there for me, and she took me to a meeting that night, and, you know, she said to me, she asked me if it was a Tuesday night, she said, do you want to go to our home group that I hadn't been to? And I said, oh, no, I'm not going to that meeting. So we went to a different meeting, and the meeting that we went to was interesting because it was like a snowstorm outside, and there were only like 5 or 6 people in the meeting, including us. And one of the other women in the meeting was somebody that I had known for a long time, and she hadn't been to meetings in a long time either. And so we're standing there before the meeting started, and I said, I haven't been to a meeting in 4 years. And she goes, oh my God, I haven't either. And that was what the meeting was about. And it was such a weird meeting. I mean, it was such a fantastic meeting. There were only 5 or 6 people there, right? It was this fantastic meeting. And I left there, you know, and I remember I went home, I went to Tanya's house, and her husband was asking how it was and stuff, and so we were standing there, and I said to her, I said, well, I'm gonna go to a noon meeting tomorrow. Do you wanna go? Because I was ready, I was back, you know? And she said, you know, she said, I've been going to meetings for 4 years while you've been gone, but I think it would be great for you to go tomorrow, you know? But I don't need to go to a meeting tomorrow. Like, you know, I can wait 2 days and you'll be fine. I was so scared to go to a meeting by myself, and I went the next day, and it was fantastic. And a fire was lit underneath me. But I think I really had to go through all of that. I hate to say dark times because it's so trite, but it really was dark times. I mean, I just was in the dark. Like, when we talk about dark, I was in the dark, you know? And I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't see any light. I didn't know how to find the light. I was in the dark. And I'm so thankful, in retrospect. I really believe that I had to go through that period of having no emotional sobriety. And what I mean by that is that once we put the drug and the alcohol up, I think that people that aren't addicts and alcoholics can have or not have emotional sobriety as well. And what it means is that, you know, once you put the drug and the drink down, that you're taking care of yourself. You're doing inventory on yourself. You're continuing to improve yourself. You are, you know, happy, joyous, and free. You're doing an inventory list and, you know, checking balances out, and you're treating people appropriately. You're making amends in your life, right? Well, you don't have to be an addict or an alcoholic to do that. It's called living a right life. And I think that being emotionally sober is feeling inside happy, joyous, and free. So you can ask yourself today, do I feel happy, joyous, and free? If I don't, what is holding me back? What do I need to do? And that is the way to emotional freedom. And I think that's the way to emotional sobriety, right? Is where you feel free again. Like, I feel like I don't really owe anybody a lot of apologies. I feel like I'm really living the right life. I feel like I'm trying to do the best that I can do on a daily basis. And that's all that can be asked of us. You know, I think it's to do the best that we can do on a daily basis. But I think had I not gone through those 4 years where I was just completely off course, I don't know that I would be where I'm at today. Like, I'm a believer that had to happen. You know, it's like Maya Angelou says, one of my favorite quotes, when you're going through one of the hardest tragedies in your life, look up and say thank you, because you're about to learn a very valuable lesson. Had I not stepped away for 4 years, I don't know that the sobriety that I have today would mean anything to me. I really don't. I work really, really hard for my sobriety today. At 25 years, you know? I work really, really hard for my marriage, my friendships, my life. I work hard at those things that mean things to me today in my life. Nothing really meant anything to me back then. It really didn't. So today, you know, life is a gift to me. And I realize that there's going to be hard times and I'm going to get through them. You're going to get through the hard times too. Trust me. You may not feel it today, okay? But you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And when you get over it or get through it or move through it, like I say, and it's 2 years down the road or a year down the road or 6 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever down the road or 3 months or 6 months, and you look back, you'll say to yourself, I made it. I'm okay today. So, and you're going to get there. Trust me, you will. I love you guys, and I hope you'll enjoy these meditations. Boo Radley is right here, and he said, I want to say goodbye to everybody. That was my meditation. Tucker is saying goodbye to everybody. You want to say goodbye to everybody? He said, goodbye, everybody. I love you. All right, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.